and working. Looks good there. Beautiful, beautiful.
I was the one who hit go.
It's hovering between fair and excellent, but
those seem like opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, there should be a good in there somewhere, but anyways, we're at least fair.
Back to excellent.
Let's not look at that
fair.
Too much.
Let's stop looking at that.
And let's go ahead and get to wait. You know what? I'm gonna hold off on the volcano for just a few seconds until we get somebody to say hi, and then we can dedicate this very first bag to them.
Ooh, I like that idea.
Yeah, so we'll catch up. Looks like we've already got
Sega Herman.
Well, welcome Sega Herman with your Goku-looking avatar. Let's Joe and LSD Papa, welcome back.
Big weeds.
Yeah, so good to see everyone here. And Queen Bee, good to see you as well. I'm feeling great, LSD Papa. About to feel a lot better. We've got our volcano going here. Still using my preposterously named cherry slushy, as everybody likes to know.
Slushy with a Z.
In case you guys are curious about the weed market in Southern California, it is even cheaper than a year ago. I would love to see somebody try to do some kind of survey about. It would be very difficult, especially now, but not impossible. But somebody basically to try to find out the cost per milligram of THC. So how many cents per milligram of THC, and how much it has gone down in the 7 years that we've had a fully legal cannabis market.
Is that across the whole product spectrum, or would you break it down by?
I would do it across the whole product spectrum because I think every entry in that has experienced a similar decline in cost.
Your hypothesis is a similar line.
Yes.
For all, whether it's bud, edibles.
I'm sort of conceited enough to say that it's not actually a hypothesis, and it's definitely true.
You could prove it.
Yeah. I
think you could do that survey.
Where would I get all the old data? I guess I could go, how do I know?
Do you still have your, pre-order receipts in your email? Do those show prices?
That's a good one, yeah. I mean, Weed Maps would have all that data. My guess is it has come down.
Oh, yeah, Weed Maps would have it.
Yeah, several, or at least a whole order of magnitude in cost in 7 years. But anyways, our first bag here, I said, was going to be for our first commenter, which is Sega Herman. Sega, I don't know.
10 seconds ahead of Joe and LSD.
Not that we don't appreciate you guys, but I already threw that out there, and I can't go back on my word. But don't worry, we've got plenty of other bags to do, and if yesterday is any indication, it might take 3 hours, but we'll get there.
Yake Snake, hello.
Sega, good to see you. Thanks for being here. We're all sad about Mr. Toriyama.
Oh, yeah.
A real loss for, I guess. I think there's going to be a Dragon Ball Babies out, from what I heard soon. Like
as in, Muppet Babies, but for...
I don't know. I just saw
Dragon
a picture.
Ball?
It's like... I didn't know there's so much more Dragon Ball than I knew from, when I was a youngin'. But there's going to be, Dragon Ball... Chibi or something. It looks weird, but if you want a little baby Goku fighting a little baby Vegeta,
I mean,
go for it. Who doesn't?
Yeah. That sounds pretty obviously what we want.
You're wearing a Sailor Moon sweatshirt.
I know.
Just to point out.
Yes, thank you. No room to criticize any TV watching. Actually, we tried to watch Sailor Moon on Hulu or whatever it was on.
I'm not sure if there's a Wii there.
Okay, I tried, and
the sweatshirt came first.
The sweatshirt came first. I mean, obviously, I watched it when I was 12.
Her middle school wardrobe, consisted of the Ramones t-shirts.
No.
The Who t-shirts, bands that she had never seen. She's just, there's a consistency to her sartorial choices.
It was just stripes and that one shirt with the Trix bunny on it. Anyways,
he's a good mascot. He's no Tony the Tiger, but which there's a Jerry Seinfeld directed his directorial debut.
Wait. Oh.
He didn't direct B movie.
He wrote it.
Yes,
okay.
I believe he wrote it
and dressed up in a costume to promote it.
But he is now directing his first movie.
Oh my gosh!
I think it's Apple TV, something like that. It's called. It's in the class of the very popular, very recent class of business biopics, like the
Blackberry guys.
Blackberry, the Beanie Babies movie.
Yeah, Beanie Bubble.
What is this one? This one's called Unfrosted. The Pop-Tarts Story. And I brought it up because somebody is playing Tony the Tiger in it, I think. And it was a great excuse to talk about a Pop-Tarts movie.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Anyways.
Pop-Tarts is very...
I know.
I grew up watching Pop-Tarts stand-up.
I feel like you've talked about the Paula Poundstone thing on stream before.
Because it's excellent. When I was like 5 years old, you could send in enough barcodes from Pop-Tarts, and they'd sent you a VHS tape in the mail of stand-up, of like... a
Pop-Tart stand-up special.
2 hours of stand-up with like 5 different comics, all themed around Pop-Tarts. It was great. It was great. And, we think we live in the era of, brand overload and brand extension. But in 1992, Pop-Tarts was out there innovating, 30 years ahead of their time, getting Paula Poundstone to make Pop-Tarts comedy. Content. Before we called it content.
Before we called it content.
Yeah. It is definitively content now. All right, I'm nursing this bag. Producer. By the way, I don't think I said, in case you weren't here yesterday, this is the producer, our world-class producer. This is the person who does all the business side of this thing.
99.9% of it that isn't your face and your reviews.
Yeah, this is the mastermind. And now that we finally are back, I convinced her to come, behind the desk.
That's right.
Help me out. Keep these things moving, focused. And also just, inject some of her own sparkling personality. I can be, if we're being honest, I can be a little grating.
It's not that you're grating. It's just for, variety is the spice of life.
Right. As we all found out from Dune.
You know what? That could be a great segue, because I wanted to get you talking about movies today.
Movies, okay.
Because yesterday we were like, what did we did COVID, it got a little political.
I just saw our buddy Mark, by the way.
It's Mark.
Hey Mark, good to see you. I hope you and Candy are both doing well from jolly old England. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Candy already said hello.
Oh.
We are so behind on chat already.
Yeah.
This is what I'm supposed to be helping with. Theoretically, it's going better than it has in the past.
Okay, while you're pulling up the chat that I need to get to, you said talk about movies. Everybody knows Dune 2 is out. It's a big giant hit. And let's just go. I've been Dune pilled right from the top. Dune 2 is a masterpiece. It's truly one of the greatest sci-fi movies ever made. Dune 1 and 2 will be remembered in the exact same way Lord of the Rings were remembered. There is not enough praise that one can give for Dune's part 1 and 2. Just like Lord of the Rings, I'm going to say it controversially in both ways, actually better than the source material in some important aspects. I was so excited for Dune. I mean, I could not have been more pumped. It was a huge Denny.
Oh, Villeneuve.
Thank you, fan.
That is my attempt at French.
And after seeing Blade Runner 2049, it's like, oh yeah, he is the literal perfect human being to direct Dune.
You were on board from the start.
Yeah, I think I described it this way. It's like, it is, and so rarely does something like meet every expectation. It's exactly the way I would have pictured it in my brain if I had an imagination 1/1000th as good as Denny. Like, it's what I thought it should have looked and felt like, but a grainy, shitty, greasy, smudgy version of it. And
in
it just,
your brain,
yes,
the grainy version.
Precisely. And
this was, you listened to book one, just the first part, none of the rest of the Dune.
Yes.
When you knew the movie was coming.
The second I heard he was directing, I was like, okay, time to check it out. And I loved it. I will say, and still agree, that it is the only book that I know of that I've ever read that about a quarter of the way through, I just went, okay, fuck it. Fuck this. I don't, this is impossible. I don't understand what's going on. So I Googled it, like, hey, what the hell is going on in Dune? And found some handy explainers. I don't actually know whether this is stuff that is eventually all addressed in later books, but there's so much backstory to
There's
Dune.
also a glossary that he published.
Yeah, Mr.
Frank.
Yeah. Speaking of pouring one out.
Oh.
He's long since dead.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Not
we don't
a
want
recent wound.
Yeah, we don't need to. Fuck him. He's been dead a long time. No, it's fine. If you're dead more than 30 years, you can talk shit about you. Easter is coming up.
What was that?
I was gonna say something maybe about Jesus, but let's not go there.
I thought you were gonna say something about Joe Lieberman.
Oh, Joe Lieberman.
I was gonna say you didn't wait. You didn't wait 30 seconds,
Yeah.
much less 30 years last night to.
Joe Lieberman passed away last night, guys. Good old Joe, and I hope that hell exists so that I can one day go shake Joe Lieberman's hand down there and say, like, you know what, man?
You don't want to shake his hand.
I'd shake his hand in hell, like, I think. But, maybe I'll do, like, one of those psych kind of moves to Joe Lieberman.
Okay.
That would get him steaming. Joe Lieberman, famously Al Gore's vice presidential candidate, would have been our first Jewish vice president. But also just a scumbag in real life. Notorious anti-violence in video games and media, sort of was the ringleader in Congress for pointing all of our problems with guns and violence in this country and not pointing it at, people that make sense.
Or the gun manufacturers.
Anyways, Joe Lieberman. Also,
we don't want to talk about Joe Lieberman.
His greatest contribution, though, is sinking the public option in the Affordable Care Act. So the reason you cannot buy health insurance from the government in a public option negotiated by the government themselves with the great rates that might imply is because of Joe Lieberman. So, Joe, I'm sorry that you weren't here, and I'm sorry you won't be here because I would have loved to have dedicated a bag to you.
No, yeah, this is Sega's bag. Come
on.
This
is Sega's bag. This isn't Joe Lieberman's bag. Let's transition away from Joe Lieberman.
Yeah. We gotta cover chat before we get too deep into this.
Thank you.
I did preview that I wanted to ask you about movies, but that was on me.
You should have cut me off a long time.
I don't know how movies got us to Joe Lieberman. Anyway.
Me neither.
Yeah.
You see how this goes from this side now.
Yeah.
You're usually just criticizing, like, what? Get back on track. But it's a black hole. It's a vortex here, Logic goes out the window.
Back to where we were. We were talking about Pop-Tarts briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Pop-Tarts, LSD Papa. Pop-Tarts had the most obscure commercial. I don't really remember the commercials, but Yake Snake.
Well, you have a Pop-Tarts. You know about incredible Pop-Tarts advertising. You were the one who showed me.
Well, that's a recent one.
I know, but I think
Was that? It wasn't the. It was like from like the playoffs, some NFL or something. I don't know. People who know sports, there was like what was it? Toast that pop or strudel. Was it toast or strudel?
It wasn't Pop-Tarts?
It was Pop-Tarts.
Pop that tart?
Toast that pop or
that doesn't sound right.
That doesn't sound right.
There was Pop-Tarts, they're still doing funny stuff.
They're still doing funny stuff. But there was the what? Okay, I'm getting distracted. But what is the best flavor of Pop-Tart? That Yake Snake had a great question.
Damn. I mean, there are Yake Snake, there are roughly I've heard that there are more flavors of Pop-Tarts than there are atoms in the universe. There are more flavors of Pop-Tarts than there are combinations of chess moves in the first 100 moves.
No. Okay, what was your favorite growing up?
The more ostentatious, the better. Like,
Wildberry.
Yeah,
with
Wildberry.
Like 3 other adjectives.
Yes, the more adjectives, the more radioactive the colors.
Yeah.
Yum. I'm gonna have to say the Batman and Robin Arnold ice.
Do they have the tongue stickers?
I think they might have had a print on them, but they're what Mr. Freeze's Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze Pop-Tart is probably my favorite Pop-Tart flavor of all time. And the great thing about Pop-Tarts is if you found a box of the Mr. Freeze Batman and Robin Pop-Tarts, they'd still be good today. They taste exactly the same.
That is true.
Hell yes. Oh my god, look at that. Pop-Tart, baby. Mr. Freeze states.
I found the bat signal. See, nobody can see what we're looking at. That's
Alicia Silverstone.
Oh, wow.
She was Batgirl in Batman and Robin.
And she had...
They all had their own Pop-Tarts, dog.
They all had their own Pop-Tarts.
The very first image was definitely Mr. Freeze.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Smucker's, Real Fruit, Frosted Cherry. Mr. Freeze stats on the...
Oh, it's got his stats. It's got his stats. Exactly what anybody would want.
Oh, it's from Twitter. I guess I could post it. Right? I can just type this?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's from...
If you want to see my favorite Pop-Tart. That was a great question. Yake Snake?
Yake Snake.
All right. We took too long on it, but it was an excellent question.
Yeah. Good. And I will even needlessly add. I don't know if it's my favorite flavor, because, again, all the flavors... Actually, I'm not the maximalist. I don't need the more adjectives, because, brown sugar's good. Ooh, raspberry, frosted raspberry. As long as there's frosting on it, right? Because I know you have a memory of knowing people who would eat it without frosting, which is like, why?
I grew up in a household with a sociopath, and I mean that literally, who ate every day 2 low-fat, unfrosted strawberry Pop-Tarts.
Unfrosted.
Excuse me. 1 every day. And another one...
Half the pack.
Yeah, just 1 tart.
So then he would finish the pack the next day.
And as a callback, if you're wondering how many different versions of the joke that they can make about Pop-Tarts having 2 Pop-Tarts, but the serving size only being 1, into the Pop-Tarts comedy special, you can go on that variation for a long time. It's like hot dog buns and hot dog packages.
Yeah.
But with Pop-Tarts and serving sizes.
Okay.
It's right first.
My Pop-Tart that I wanted to shout out was our find from Grocery Outlet, my favorite grocery store. It keeps on being there, I guess because nobody wanted to buy them, but they're awesome, is the Eggo flavored Pop-Tarts that are at Grocery Outlet. They're waffle flavored with they've got a little rectangle on the top, and then it's like maple flavored filling. It's really good. I don't know why. And ooh, in terms of like radioactive colors, the tart is yellower, kind of like getting that waffle color, you know, the eggy waffle color. So, yeah, it's good. It's good. It's
She's not lying. And what a great example of co-branding there too.
Yeah, synergy.
Yeah.
Just the brand synergy. We love the brand synergy. There's Arcane. We didn't say hello yet.
Good to see you, man. Thanks for being here, Arcane. Sorry to anybody I've missed along the way. We're getting there.
We're getting there.
Pop-Tarts proved to be a particularly robust topic.
Yeah.
I can see why Jerry Seinfeld's making the movie.
I mean, we have more Pop-Tart stories that we haven't even... We'll save them for later.
Yeah.
But they do tie into movies.
Yeah, but let's table that.
We gotta table the Pop-Tarts.
Yeah. But what do we also know about Pop-Tarts? They're good forever.
It will not, yeah.
This story won't go stale.
It won't go stale. They won't go bad, yeah.
All right, so...
Mark commenting on Dune. Yes, everyone who hasn't checked out Dune...
Mark says...
highly recommended, but here's what Mark heard. You got it.
No, please.
Mark has not seen Dune, but heard that the first is mainly a build-up to the second. Both are amazing, just the second has more action. I think that's the right summary.
It is both. It is certainly just a part 1 and part 2. Very much not neither one of them is a complete movie. But I will give Denny extra credit for making them a lot of connections between them that flow together as both like 2 separate movies. There's these really great connections between both as separate things, even though it's just one big story. He does some really great, fun... What are you watching?
I didn't mean to click it.
Oh, Pop-Tarts Bowl. Sorry, my bad.
Arcane knew what I was talking about.
But it is... You cannot watch Dune Part 2 without having seen Part 1. And Part 1 is not in any way a satisfying document of... It is just a build-up for part... I mean, I loved it still, but it is not Dune 1 and 2. It is Dune Part 1 and Part 2. And, it doesn't try at all to ease you in from one to the other. So... but the great thing is, if you haven't seen Dune Part 1, you still get to watch Dune 1, and it's incredible. What are we looking at here?
Don't worry. That was the Pop-Tart mascot that was called the edible mascot. I was trying to find what was the chant.
Ah, you're from that commercial. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
So I can also keep you on track, but I can also distract you.
Oh, obviously.
Double-edged sword.
Yeah. Shiny images up here. Not. But even still, I'm appreciating looking at the Pop-Tart guy. He looks very creepy.
He's so creepy.
All right, get me caught up on some chat. Give me some chat here.
R.I.P. to Joe. We covered that. You are delivering on the stoner conversation. I'm steering it in whatever way you can. Oh, how do we say that? Valid? Is that a schwa?
Wow. That is a term, that is the upside down E. It's called a schwa.
Yeah.
What is it? Where does that originate?
I mean, it's like a pronunciation symbol. There's all those symbols for pronunciation.
Where
are you asking me to give you the vowel that is schwa?
Yes. In what languages do you ever see it written out? As in, like, you would...
When you see, like, the pronunciation writings.
But if you were in, Yugoslavia or something, would you see it ever printed out?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, you knew the name of it?
I just know it's called schwa.
It's a cool name, though.
It is a cool name.
Valid, let us know if that's a schwa. And then also what a schwa is.
But, to you as well.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. No, absolutely. Sega says no love for toaster strudel.
If that's a question mark, we love the toaster strudel. Just
I mean, it is obviously the superior pastry.
It takes more work.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't eat a toaster strudel without some.
I mean, I've eaten hundreds of Pop-Tarts in the past 20 years, maybe thousands, and I don't know if I have eaten a toaster strudel
But
in the past 15 years at all.
let's extrapolate that idea though to anything else as
Okay.
an indicator of quality, or how many times have you eaten a 4-star meal in your in your life, and how many times have you eaten a shitty microwavable pizza?
Okay. Okay. I
So
see
just
what you're
because
saying.
you haven't eaten as many toaster strudels
Yeah.
does not in any way.
It doesn't mean that I don't know that it's higher quality.
Yeah, it could be vastly higher quality.
Right.
That's
That's okay.
Yeah, the convenience of a Pop-Tart, like the
I've seen Pop-Tarts in vending machines.
I now understand how there was a 2-hour comedy special about Pop-Tarts. I'm living it. I'm fucking living it.
You're creating a new one.
I'm just, Jerry Seinfeld, I forgive you, buddy. I get it. I was very confused why you're deciding to make a movie about Pop-Tarts. I get it. They're fascinating and tasty.
Valid asks,
Yes.
did you watch the original Dune? Which I'm suspecting maybe means
David Lynch's. I have never seen David Lynch's Dune. I will never see David Lynch's Dune. I know that it has its fans, and I'm a David Lynch hater. I hate to say it.
You don't hate to say it.
No, I don't. I don't hate David Lynch. I just don't think he makes good movies. But let's table that for a second. I was going to say something else about. Oh, I know something fascinating about Dune. I've only ever heard this. I've never seen.
Oh, when they were showing it.
Yeah, I've never actually seen an image. I would love to see an upload of one of these, but. I was talking about Dune, and I was saying, like, oh my god, there's so much stuff that happens before the plot of the books that you really should know before reading or watching it, that just clarifies why all of these bizarro things are happening, these sort of unexplained, why isn't this thing here? Why aren't there computers here? How is this a sci-fi, spacefaring, multi-galactic world without any sort of computation devices? All that is never explained. But in the original David Lynch version of Dune, released in the 80s, apparently at the theater, or some theaters, they handed people a little one-sheet, a little fact sheet that did exactly that. It was like, here's all the stuff that you could possibly would help you understand what is happening here, because the movie is not initially interested in explaining any of this. And I genuinely believe, I truly believe, it is a superior experience knowing, doing 5 minutes of research ahead of time and having some things explained will make it a more enriching experience. And apparently that happened in movie theaters. There was, with your ticket, you got a little pamphlet that said, here's some backstory. And I think it's actually a great idea. And I wish they would have done it for the movies. Although, from its massive success, it doesn't seem like it's really hurting it. But
I found it.
She did. You can share it. You did. Nice.
It's a dig link.
I was going to say dig.com. My God. Reddit before Reddit.
Whatever owns Dig now. There was a Reddit link, but I thought you'd like the Dig link.
Yake6 says butter on a Pop-Tart.
Yeah, I've never tried that.
I have heard something. That could be good. That could be good.
There are good. What was the other Pop-Tart comment? Oh, that must be it. And it got called plastic, which is true. Oh, Sega also proposing the toaster strudel and Pop-Tart ice cream sandwich, which, yeah. We did because they do say it on the wrappers. They say, you can put it in, you can eat it right away. You can put it in the toaster. Or you can freeze your Pop-Tarts. You stick them in the freezer, which we've done before. And that's a fun twist. They're good, and believe it or not, Pop-Tarts are still good, straight out of the freezer.
Cockroaches and Pop-Tarts. And Twinkies.
Lasting forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be the, outlive us all.
Outliving us all, but...
God, it'd be nice to think some alien here, millions in the future, sifting through Earth's ruins and coming across a box of frosted cherries. They would think that was a civilization. I wonder what got them. It must have been an asteroid. Certainly they didn't do it to themselves. Any civilization that can produce
a masterpiece of a caloric delivery device.
Yes.
Like the frosted cherry.
Then you would have assumed that we would have been a galactic scale civilization a long time ago.
Right.
But
who needs to not steal your idea? Because if we're saying Kellogg's, is that who?
I think
Kellogg's.
So. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Probably. Okay. I agree. Kellogg's shouldn't steal your idea, but I might steal your idea. Put it in my. I have a little dream. I have a dream restaurant. I would love to have a restaurant that serves things that you don't cook at all, like peanut butter on Ritz. But the Pop-Tart ice cream sandwich could be a premium dessert item at the we don't actually cook anything restaurant.
That's a genius idea. And you could, make it an experience and charge extra for the fact that you don't do, Yeah. Wow, that's great.
It's like, your babysitter who didn't know how to cook, the snacks she would put out for after school.
Yeah, you get the gushers, the fruit by the foots there.
Yes. But we can also do a classic. Oh, this is a great one. Apple slices. I love the apple slices with slices of cheese.
Slicing is cooking by another name.
Just no heat applied. Here, I'll these guys are getting kind of brown.
No, and we need more restrictions than just no heat applied. You can get pretty fancy,
with
charcuterie boards.
That's true, but that's not. No, you wouldn't. You shouldn't call that.
You have to take it. Something has to be opened from a plastic wrapper.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. God, this restaurant sounds so perfectly shitty already. Man. And think about the co-branding opportunities you got here. It could be Dunkaroos Week. Just... You've got me lost here now, thinking about this.
Well,
you're gonna have to come up with a name, a great name. We're gonna pin this one for later. Okay.
Valid asks.
Yes.
Have you been doing any gaming lately? And any recommendations?
I have been doing a lot, and I have quite a few recommendations.
A little bit about VR yesterday, but let's first the non-VR.
Let me do one VR because I don't think I mentioned. Somebody asked yesterday, "Oh, what headset?" And I was like, "Definitely get the Quest 3. It's great." And I talked a little bit about mixed reality. All that's still true. Quest 3 is still great. I hate the fact that I'm recommending a Meta product, but it really is just fantastic. But in December, anybody who bought a Quest 3, I think they're still they just extended it. It has a pack-in game, a Super Mario World, a Sonic the Hedgehog, a game that came with the console. Although it actually came out like 2 months later, but you got it for free if you bought it. That is, I loved it. It was one of my favorite games of last year. It is really like VR's kind of, to me, somebody who's been playing VR games since 2016, the first time I really felt like oh shit, we've got our sort of Zelda, we've got our kind of marquee, incredible, built from the ground up, could only be done in VR game in Asgard's Wrath 2. Very boring, generic title. It is a game that I played. Let me explain it this way. I've had an Oculus Quest since they came out in 2019. I have had a Quest 2 when they came out. So I've had the mobile Quest headset since they've come out for 5 years. I have never once ever run the battery completely down on it. Played it from the power being on to the battery draining. On the Quest 3, I have the extended battery life headset. And so Quest 1 never did that. Quest 2 never did that. Played it all the time, but
And the earlier headsets, it would be sort of you had a physical constraint against doing that, right?
Yeah, they would give me more of a headache, and they were less comfortable. But
so the hardware's caught up.
Yeah, it's not really actually about the hardware. It's just about how incredible it is to be in there and how fun, and much like a Skyrim, pick your game that you just like can't stop, or you're just like, okay, let me just do one more X, let me do one more Y. And then before you know it, 3 hours have passed. That is Asgard's Wrath 2 for me. The point I was going to say, though, is 3 times during Asgard's Wrath 2, I went from 100% battery and 100% battery in my extended battery pack and played it totally dry. I don't play flat games for that long at a stretch. I don't. I have to get up and do something else, move on after 90 minutes. But I multiple times played 3 hours or more where the headset, I ignored the warnings that were like, low battery, charge device soon. It's like, what's around this corner?
You can do one more thing.
Yeah, what's around this corner? And it died on me. It is that compelling. It is so much fun. It was a game that I actually dreamed about at night. At times,
oh, wow.
Had the re-going over some puzzles or things in my brain at night. I absolutely loved it. It is I think actually a game worth getting a headset for. If you VR sounds interesting, you've had any kind of interest, it is up there with Beat Saber and Super Hot as the marquee best VR experiences that are out there, and it's incredible. And if you buy a Quest 3, you get it for free, and it is the best pack-in game, the best free game since Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. I seriously don't have enough nice things to say about it. But outside of that, I do have another addiction, a hopeless addiction. Actually, I have a game. This hasn't happened to me in a while, where I've said, okay, I can't do it anymore. I've got to stop. Just last week, I said, I'm banning this from myself for the next couple of months, because otherwise, instead of doing other trying other games, playing other experiences, I was just going to keep going back to it. And that is a game called Against the Storm, which is exclusive on Steam right now. It is, like so many indie games, a roguelite game, a roguelite hybrid. So taking the appeals of a roguelite, runs, redoing the same thing over and over with new starting conditions and upgrades and slight changes. So we have a lot of those, and now they're paired with other things, like you've got your deck builder roguelites like Slay the Spire. Probably the last game I had to ban myself from for some time. Just like, okay, I gotta stop, otherwise it's the only thing I'm gonna play. So Against the Storm, we've got our roguelite elements, new starting conditions, you die, you go over. And what do you pair it with this time? Well, it is paired with a civilization building game. It is like a Warcraft 3 or Age of Empires or even Civ itself mixed with a roguelite. So you are doing basically the beginnings of building civilizations over and over and over again. And it is this amazing loop because it is, again, paired with a roguelite, not a rogue-like, which we've got to do better about naming conventions for these things. There's roguelite and like.
Those sound too much alike.
Yes.
And light.
This would be more of the light, L-I-T-E, in the sense that it gets easier every time. There is some progression from each run to the next. In your cities that you are building and it constantly being destroyed by this big storm, the fiction of the game is kind of weird. You're building these little civilizations trying to stop this big impending storm that comes every 30 years and basically tears everything down. And so you've got these cycles where you're building little things, trying to make further progress, and in between each run, you can upgrade sort of your base, which makes your little cities stronger and more resilient in little ways. You know, if you've played any roguelike games before or civilization games, you might have some idea like, oh, your guys build structures 2 times faster or this, that, or the other. It is, I think, also frequently compared to things like very popular games like, I'm trying to think of like Frostpunk or SteamWorld or these games that are about just overwhelming conditions and things that you don't have precise 100% control over. You are kind of setting up the conditions, telling things where to go, but then you are reacting more to scenarios than you are actually like building a civilization, or you're basically, everything is just going wrong all the time and you're having to react. I can't remember the names. I've never played any of them, but they're so beloved. Even Dwarf Fortress is sort of like it. What is the name of one? RimWorld. Something like RimWorld. I think it's been compared to that as well. So if you like your civilization building type games, if you are a Civ fan or a 4X kind of fan, and you like roguelites, I heartily recommend it. And if you only are a fan of either of those genres, I'd still say give it a shot. I played it so much that I had to tell myself that I can't anymore. I've banned myself from it because I would just
too addictive.
Plays great on the Steam Deck too. Plays real nice with those trackpads. I've had my Steam Deck
you haven't gotten to really rant about your Steam Deck much yet.
Yeah, well, I've ranted about it plenty, but it plays great on there. So Against the Storm, incredible. I've been playing a lot of that. And
you mentioned Monster Hunter.
Grovel says yes.
Would you jump back on?
Yeah, I would love to. Grovel, Monster Hunter is a game that I could always play. It's such a great loop, such a fantastic little loop. I cannot wait for I think Capcom finally announced the Monster Hunter World sequel for next gen, whenever that'll be. But Rise is such an awesome game. It just bums me out that they don't allow crossplay. It is now available on everything, Monster Hunter Rise. Like literally, it's on Xbox, it's on PlayStation, I think. It's on Switch, which is where it started. And of course, it's on PC. And it just so saddens me that they are all in their little walled gardens, especially when the trend is towards crossplay. And I think Monster Hunter would benefit from it a lot. A lot of people only have Xbox. A lot of people only have Switches. I know I could convince some friends who have Xboxes to group up, but I don't want to start over on there. Yeah. But Monster Hunter Rise, Monster Hunter, all great.
Did you also play another... Was there like a sequel to Ark? No. What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of?
Not Ark, the what is their name? The redheaded chick.
Oh, you mean Horizon?
Yeah, Horizon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great timing, actually. I did play Horizon 2
announced.
years ago when it came out. Loved it. Great. But Horizon Forbidden West, I think is the name of the sequel, the PlayStation 5 one, just released last week on PC.
Oh.
One of the many Sony ports to the PC now. And if you haven't played either Horizon game, they're both great if you're into open world game design. And now they're both on PC. I also played the VR version of Horizon.
Okay.
Horizon Zero. No, that's the first one. It was the PSVR 2 launch game, Horizon something. And it is, I will be the
Call
first.
of the Mountain.
Yeah, it is fine for what it is. But not what I want. It's actually a very old school style VR game, reminiscent of stuff from like 2017. There's a lot of just big arenas where you're, bounded on by walls. It's what you want from a Horizon game, or in my brain, is tons of exploration, the ability to go, pretty much anywhere, these ability to engage or not engage combat from any sort of vantage and with whatever sort of arsenal that fits your preference or play style. And the game is 100% the opposite of that. It is very linear. You are given much fewer tools. Usually it is very clear what tool you need to use. It does look great, except for the fact that it has this thing called reprojection, which means it's just like every frame is doubled because the PlayStation 5 doesn't have the juice to run it in the headset as well as it should. So even though it looks great, it's kind of sluggish in a way. But it's just not what you want from a Horizon game, or at least not me. And it brings me right back. This came out last year, the same year as Asgard's Wrath 2, which just proved that you absolutely can make a giant, massive, open world role-playing game with complex traversal mechanics. I mean, Asgard's Wrath 2, you are doing all kinds of incredibly fun traversal stuff that you do in Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West in VR, and it's amazing. And yet the big first-gen Sony, this is our headset game with their series known for having big, giant, massive open worlds and all this creative way of engaging with combat.
They just chickened out.
Yeah, and yet Asgard's Wrath 2 it does it in spades. And I think as satisfying in VR as it is to play the very satisfying Horizon Forbidden West or Zero Dawn on a PlayStation. That the combat in that game is that good. Again, don't have enough nice things to say about Asgard's Wrath 2. Thank you for that question. Oh, you were the one who asked me about Horizon.
Well, the question, there was a question. The question was just, what have you been playing? Which I asked you to talk about console games.
Yes.
Which, well, you did a little bit. And you talked Mario yesterday.
Mario Wonder, yeah.
Mario Wonder yesterday. But we did not answer Yake Snake's question.
Mm-hmm.
What console games would you like to see converted to VR?
Oh,
I like that question.
Great. You know what, Yake? Because it's that time, and because you're giving me the opportunity for some really great ranting here. Bag number 2, Yake, it's going to be for you and Joe Lieberman. In hell. Yake, you're not going to be in... I mean...
Two separate
yes,
conditions.
Yes. Am I hitting the right button? Yes, there we go. So, Yake says, what console games would you like to see converted to VR? Boy, do I have some thoughts. We know definitively that some pancake games can be translated to VR and not just be a good VR game, but I think better than their original 2D versions. And we have 2 examples from this year alone, and those are Resident Evil 8 and Resident Evil 4, both which came out on the PSVR 2 this year. Full games in VR, both of them incredible.
I thought you were going to talk about...
I am.
Okay.
So just as a proof that, like, you know, taking a beloved video game experience and putting it inside of a headset can produce remarkable, incredible results. The obvious, clear, how has this not happened? Meta, for Christ's sakes, give 2K whatever they're asking for, whatever it's going to cost. It's going to be worth it. You did it once already for a different Resident Evil 4. You paid Capcom to make a Resident Evil 4 GameCube version port for VR, and it was awesome. The Resident Evil 4 I was just referring to was the Resident Evil 4 remake, which is also in VR. Yes, I have played Resident Evil 4. Everybody's played it at least once. Most people have played it multiple times. It's been released on fucking everything. I've played it twice on VR in 2 different formats. Old school, and that's how great VR is. But anyways, the clear, obvious, 100%, why has this not happened? Get the dump truck of money to whoever needs to go to, is BioShock. How do we not have BioShock ported to VR? Is anything more perfect and ready to be, you know, you can just so easily imagine it being experienced that way. It is a game all about setting and place and feeling like you are immersed in this world of rapture, this underwater, rapidly failing, one-time utopia, now hell. It is the greatest setting ever made in video games. It is a place that you want to just like explore every little nook and cranny. You want to open every bathroom stall and see what Ken Levine hid back there as some incredible environmental storytelling. All of these things are only enhanced by VR. And so, like, what is our, way of interacting in a VR world other than, of course, looking into it? We've got 2 fucking hands. Every VR system has 2 controllers, which usually correspond, map to your hands. Well, what do you do in BioShock? You have 2 goddamn hands, usually one with a gun, one with, fireballs or bees or whatever kind of cool shit that you inject into your neck. All of that stuff, it's just perfect already for VR. The idea of, like, you got 2 apparatuses, ready to go. It should be perfect or easy to do. So we've talked about how incredible the setting is. You want to be in that place. The input methods are perfect for VR. And even, let's not spoil the twist here, but even the themes of BioShock would be perfectly reinforced by the VR medium. The big reveal of 2/3 through the game, I think, would feel even more impactful having literally done those things, not just pressed a button that corresponds to, some action, binary action, but like, if you have to harvest a little sister, if you've played BioShock before, there's some difficult choices about little girls running around the city of Rapture and what you have to do to them, and imagining having to, like, make those actions with your hand instead of just the binary of A or X for yes or no, or do this or don't do that. We won't say exactly what, but you probably get it. All of that, it's perfect for VR. I don't know how it hasn't happened. It's not like, so like 2K is a company, they've made VR stuff already. They have you can play Borderlands 2 in VR. So I don't understand why we can't play BioShock. It seems like the thing that maybe even Sony would have tried to get some interest in their on life support, but maybe that's even a generous way of describing the PSVR 2's state of existence right now. I think actually a BioShock port is one of the few games, along with Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which is a game that was announced 3 years ago.
Supposed to come.
By literally Mark Zuckerberg said that they are going to have the same year that the Resident Evil 4 port came out. He's like, guess what?
GTA.
If you thought that was big, we haven't heard any more from it. But, if we can get something like that, I just think it is a missed opportunity for everybody. I genuinely think if there is a thing out there that could gin up more interest in headsets, like get people who have not used one before to go like, oh, that sounds fucking incredible, it would be BioShock. I mean, it is such a fondly remembered game, and I think people even hearing about it would go like, oh, that would be cool. Just the idea of walking through this underwater world. Give it to us, Mark,
We don't ask you for much.
Yeah, we don't ask you for much, Mark.
We don't ask. In fact, we don't. Yeah.
Phenomenal question. So BioShock is the answer. It's so obvious it's painful, but it has to be said. And somebody needs to get on Mark's ass. And if not that, why can't we have that Grand Theft Auto San Andreas? Probably because they were like, oh my god. My guess is let's do just a brief conspiracy theory that I'm making up on the fly and never considered really before. My guess is there is a Grand Theft Auto San Andreas Oculus Quest, gotta stop using that Oculus name, port out there in some state, and there was just a frank conversation at some point like, can we really do this?
Can we actually make this an experience that you...
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is one of the 5 most controversial games of all time. Not even for its generic content, but for the whole hot coffee fiasco, which, if you don't remember, somebody cracked a version of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for the Xbox and found out that there was a oral sex mini game buried in the code. And once that was found out, the world went to shit for a while. For a thing that was literally impossible to do unless you could hack your Xbox. I mean, people did. And they actually had to pull all of the games off the shelves because they re-rated the game to adults only immediately after this happened. But it never
But it
never actually got that rating because they just I don't think there is this fabled adults only rating. I don't think it's ever existed because no retailer would ever carry it. So there are rare copies of Grand Theft Auto that are the pre-pulled ones because they pulled them and destroyed them and had to re-release it. It was a whole big thing. So we're already primed for that game to be, have this reputation of being controversy prone. I don't actually think. Oh my God, there is one.
I mean, I just found it on Reddit.
They had to put a sticker over it. Oh, so the retailers, but no retailer would sell adults only game. Anyways, they eventually re-released it. They, went in and just cut that little line of code out. This is a thing that used to happen in video. It still does. When you are working on a game, you have all these different, any piece of software, things exist in the code that, can just be sort of left there or not accessed, and that's what happened. I think it was probably just forgotten about. I don't need to relitigate it. But my guess is that they were making this, and there were some interactions that, were being in VR that seemed... I mean, you do fornicate with ladies of the night in Grand Theft Auto.
Really? I feel like this is all... We were talking about Joe Lieberman. We were trying to not talk about Joe Lieberman, but this sounds like, the kind of stuff to get his panties in a total wad.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 3 is one of the other 5 most controversial games of all time. I've ranted about how incredible the Housers are multiple times on this very live streams, because I do think that those guys are incredible geniuses. But I don't need to do that anymore. But other than just to say, in terms of the most influential people in American media, you would never credited, and those are the Hauser brothers at Rockstar.
You would put them up there. And most people would just forget.
The same guys that created the sandbox, the idea of sandbox games, go anywhere, do anything. The thing I was just bitching that Horizon wasn't.
Yeah.
The guys who basically, there were other proto ones, but the ones who created that whole concept and nailed it on the first go with Grand Theft Auto 3, I think that the whole industry has been chasing ever since, is also the same guy who wrote the script for Red Dead Redemption 2. One of the
incredible.
Finest pieces of writing in media. It's insane. The guy, that his brain contains those kind of multitudes. It's in that level of talent.
Is it interconnected that to have a narrative as good as Red Dead's, that they had to also create the sandbox for video games?
Maybe.
Yeah,
there are
on
other...
its face, maybe not that one requires the other. But
there are other examples of these, polymaths out there that,
who,
have...
create a genre, but then also write something incredible.
Or, do something incredible in the field of mathematics, and then also discover something in biology. These people that just, their brains are on a higher plane of existence, and the idea of, they are design... People who have literally... The whole video game industry ever since has chased that design, that they created whole cloth, and then also some of the best writing you will find in fiction.
In media, period.
Yeah, just from the same dudes. I don't ever see that articulated as an impressive feat, and it so is.
All right. Thank you, Hauser Brothers.
Yes.
Dude, bag check.
Not doing well. Not doing well.
Yeah, you owe Sega a real... Sega and Joe and Hell, a real apology there.
Joe.
And, gotta say hi. We got Stephanie on here.
Welcome back, Stephanie. One of our all-time great, big... What word should we use? Just,
Long time.
Long-time bros? Friends.
We hit this yesterday.
Yes, and I forgot.
You need a word for your audience.
We need a noun.
Yeah.
But not
we don't like wheats heads.
No.
Wheaties?
I don't want it to be so
you focused.
Yeah.
We want it to be you guys focused.
So whoever comes up with
something more welcoming.
Yeah. But Stephanie, one of our we'll go with the and sincerely, one of our greatest friends here. Thanks for joining us. Sorry for another Hauser brother rant. It happens. It's the third time on the live stream. Yeah.
You don't see anybody else saying it, so you got to keep on saying it.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
They are not involved with Grand Theft Auto 6. They are gone. And that should worry people.
about Grand Theft Auto 6, but it should interest people in what are they doing instead.
I don't think they're doing things with video games at all anymore.
Are they going to go do TV?
I don't remember. And I'm not sure if they knows. I mean, they probably have... I hope they just retire.
They could just sit on their mountains of cash.
Yeah.
Presumably. We hope. They deserve it.
And if you want to do one more incredibly impressive feat, they also made Grand Theft Auto 6, which is probably one of the most financially successful games of all time. Nobody really knows, but it probably makes in the B's of year in profit.
Oh, a billion, as in billions.
So up there was something like a League of
Still.
Legends. Yes. A 10-year-old game. There has not been a Grand Theft Auto in 10 years. The most successful, because one, they're that thorough. I gotta start with Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
House of Brothers. Because they don't need more 30. Rockstar.
Ooh, you got...
Segway.
Sega is gonna deadeye this bowl. Actually, I'm not sure what the meaning of that is.
Sega. We're both unfamiliar with the verbiage. What does it mean to deadeye one's bowl?
Is the bowl gonna make you dead-eyed?
I'm trying to think if I can just infer. If I think dead eyes, well, then it gets pretty morbid pretty quickly. I'm sure I could Google it too, but...
Back a long time ago.
Bravo asks...
15 minutes ago.
Speaking of BioShock, are you looking forward to Judas? Yes. I mean, I don't watch trailers. I don't look at media for things unless I absolutely can't help it. That goes for all versions of anything. Like, if I'm interested in something, I'm going to watch it. But Judas is that because, great question, Grovel, the guy who is the creator of BioShock and BioShock Infinite, the sort of up and down how the world feels about BioShock Infinite at any given time, but still an undeniable talent. And speaking of people who haven't done something for 10 years, Ken Levine, BioShock Infinite came out in 2013. He has not produced anything since, and his next game is Judas, which is a PlayStation exclusive? Something? Anyways, what I have heard about it is that it looks a lot like BioShock, and when somebody as talented as Ken Levine does something in their wheelhouse, that's fine with me. Unless it's something like J.J. Abrams is going to shepherd a beloved sci-fi series, then I would be worried, even though it is, ostensibly in his wheelhouse. Or if it's like... but Steven Spielberg's going to make an Indiana Jones movie. It's like, those are things that have been in people's wheelhouses that we now have to be suspect of. But you told me Denny is going to make, a sci-fi epic based on a beloved property. And I was like, oh, yeah, you don't have to tell me anymore. But you should tell me more because I'll read that book too because I'm just that excited. So that is contrary to my original point. But yes, Grovel, I am excited for Judas, knowing nothing other than it is the next game from Ken Levine.
It's coming out this year? Or no? Oh.
Sony came out... Sony is... Everybody's fucking up in the video game space, other than pretty much Nintendo, who is... We talked about is... hanging back. They're like not releasing the Switch 2 this year, apparently. Sony came out and said... We also don't have any big software launches coming out this year. I don't understand how that can be.
Okay, Judas is maybe for next year.
Yeah.
Alright.
Sony doesn't have
a new console.
It doesn't have... It might have a new fucking console, which is nuts. There might be a PS5 Pro out this year.
With no launch game?
It is the least... It is the most, like... What are you doing, Sony?
Because they don't have a game for it.
Not only do they not have a game for it, there's certainly been nothing on the PlayStation 5 that has released that has been pushing the console to the limits. Mm-hmm. It is just recently that they've had games that they've released that aren't also on the PlayStation 4.
Well, so, okay, wait. If it's the 5, you said 5 Pro?
So everything would still work.
Is it kind of like a 5, like from a iPhone 5 to a 5S? Like, is it that kind of thing?
Kind of. It is, everything still worked. Like, there is no Pro exclusive game.
Okay.
So there's, there were apps that are exclusive to, but
right.
Things just run better. But they want to sell you a PlayStation 5 that, has way more horsepower when we're not yet seeing software that are utilizing everything that can. And more audaciously, they've already said that they somehow don't have it. I mean, games are hard to make, I understand. But they don't have any first-party titles coming out. They don't have a Horizon this year.
The logical thing would be to wait on the console until they have the games.
Yeah, why would you release a more powerful version of it?
Because who are you going to sell it to?
They're going to sell, it to a dedicated big group of X number of millions. Fans. I mean, apparently the PlayStation Portal is doing gangbusters. You don't know what this is.
I don't know PlayStation Portal.
A streaming. It is that controller, the PlayStation 5 controller you see right there.
Okay. Can you then
cut down the middle with an 8-inch screen put in between it.
Okay.
And
why?
And it's...
Why?
You stream... Oh, excuse me.
Are you okay?
Yes. I was just talking to you. Ugh. I'm good.
You need
I need to drink something. I was sucking in... I mean, you can see how quickly I was doing this bag. That's a lot of air to take in over 40 minutes.
And you sure have been releasing a lot of hot air.
Nice. That is very true. So yes, it is that with a screen in the middle, and it is used to stream games from your PlayStation.
So because of the Steam Deck? Or
the
Switch?
Because both those things, yes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have any local processing power. It is all... So it is only... And it requires a PlayStation 5 to work. It's not even like a cloud streaming service.
Okay.
Like
more like when the the Wii U or something.
Yes, but you could take it somewhere else theoretically and connect it to your own Wi-Fi. But yes, kind of like that. Except it doesn't have the purported but never actually utilized Wii U benefits of being like
interacting with the
it's just
console.
Reflecting what's on your screen. It's not two separate screens.
Okay, yeah, just one or the other.
And it's $200. The thing is, you can do it on I can take that DualShock controller, DualSense, excuse me, that's what they're called now.
Sense.
And use my iPhone and remote play that way.
Right.
It is. It's already available as an app. So this is just
another $200 piece of hardware.
Yeah, and I think people thought it would sell to a small but dedicated audience, but apparently it has been it's been out since like November, and is almost always out of stock. They are. Yeah, it's a huge success for them. So I think that is also emboldening Sony to think like, if we can sell this thing,
why not?
Yeah. It is a thing also your Steam Deck can do. Like, you can use your Steam Deck to remote play from your PlayStation. And you can buy a Steam Deck for $125 more.
Wow.
That has a decent PC.
Its own console. Yeah. And then can go on the go. Like Grovel said, if you could play the Portal on the go, it would be much better.
Yeah. But...
I also like this backwards in what you were saying, but Grovel's great comment. Throwing house parties are in Diddy's wheelhouse, but not necessarily a good thing.
I wonder how good of a reference that is. Do you know what's happening to Mr. Diddy?
P?
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna tell you this way.
I clearly I don't know.
P. Diddy, Mr. Dids, Mr. Puffy, Mr. Combs,
Sean,
Mr. Sean, got Ridley Scott locked out of his mansion for like 12 hours yesterday.
Out of Ridley Scott's mansion?
Yes, his own mansion.
Because
the fucking SWAT teams that surrounded his mansion are adjacent to their next door neighbors, and they weren't letting Ridley into his own house because there were like
such a
cops surrounding it.
Such a crazy house party going on.
It's a little bit.
And Ridley is Sir Rids.
I should say there's sex crimes involved before we get too flip.
Before.
Maybe I let it get a little too far. Diddy has been accused of, in some nominative deterministic shit, doing bad things. I don't know exactly what, but all his mansions have been raided. You know.
Can we whisper sex trafficking?
I don't know I don't want to speak out any more than I know there were like accusations very recently of.
We don't know anything.
Yeah.
Let's just shut up.
And there were massive.
How old is Ridley Scott? He's like 80.
Yeah, he's in his 80s. I think. Yeah.
Wow, that's.
And
he couldn't get in his mansion.
Yeah.
That's so.
There were paparazzi there, like taking pictures of the cops, I guess, surrounding P. Diddy's place. Then Ridley Scott shows up.
Then they're taking pictures of him just being stuck outside of his house.
Yes! Like, there's just images of, like, Ridley Scott in front of his driveway looking sad.
Oh, no.
If you haven't seen Napoleon...
I recommend it.
It's worth... If you got Apple TV Plus, you already have it for free to watch. If you've ever want to see Joaquin Phoenix make pig noises and
too much of a spoiler. And yeah,
a bull
buck his feet like a bull,
and looks very sleepy.
Yeah,
all the time looking very sleepy.
He looks sleepy a lot.
Ridley Scott postulates Napoleon's just kind of tired. He's just kind of...
Alternatively, horny and tired.
Yeah. 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 It wasn't a bad movie.
It was so much more fun than I expected. I went in expecting to be bored, and I, laughed so frequently during that movie.
It was no House of Gucci. That was also Ridley Scott. He had that year where he had The Last Duel and House of Gucci out in 2 months.
That's right.
He's 80-something. We were talking about Tony yesterday. The Scott brothers.
The Scott brothers.
What is happening to our Jewish brothers? What is happening to our Jewish writer, director?
That sounds like it's okay.
Brother combos.
Finish that sentence.
Lord, it's sad. It's so sad. The Safdie brothers, Good Times and Uncut Gems, both those incredible experiences. The Safdies, it is no longer the Safdie brothers. Now we've got a Benny and a Jonah or Jezzeret. That can't be right.
I was just trying to make a Dune joke.
Oh. I'm sorry. That is on. It might be the weed. So that's one of our beloved Safdie brother, writer, director, incredible creative brother pairs that have severed, and then before them, the Coens. And it is now. If we ever didn't know, we definitely know which Coen is the talented Coen. It's clear. There's an answer to that one. I guess we don't yet know if the Safdies have differing level of talent. We know Benny Safdie is incredibly talented. You got to watch The Curse on Showtime, the Nathan Fielder show. Holy shit!
And which includes, he's also a very talented actor.
Yeah.
Where we saw him so much acting last year.
He was in
Oppenheimer.
That's not the craziest one.
He's the dad in Dear God, It's Me, Margaret.
Yes, which is so good. Anyways, the Coens also are no longer the Coen brothers. They're Joel and Ethan, and Joel Coen, not the good Coen. I saw the movie, his first individual foray earlier this year, Drive Away Dolls. Woof! A train wreck of a movie. I mean, total train wreck. The other Coen did that Macbeth a year before, 2 years before, black and white, Denzel. I don't give a shit about Macbeth. It's boring as hell. It looked great, but I'm confident it's a good sign still, even if Macbeth is always going to be.
You just don't care about Shakespeare in general. We have puppy talk going on also.
What are you doing up here, buddy?
He got called out for looking like a giant skunk.
But he is a giant squid.
He's a giant squid.
How old is he now? Oh my god, why? He looks tired, dude.
He's not a puppy anymore. Like 10?
Yeah, 10 and a half, something like that. Yes, where were we? Do we have anything else to... Oh, his tail does make him look... If you see it pop up, he is very Pepe Le Pew-ish.
Yeah, when he's slinking back into the living room. And there's another, puppy in quotations, as we call them, all the dogs puppies, but, a 12-year-old puppy. There's a 12-year-old puppy under the table licking my calves right now.
Thank God we don't have a camera down there.
Yeah.
Where were we? Am I all caught up? Let me finish this bag and let's get the third bag going.
I do want you to drink some water.
Oh,
I know you've got your energy drink. But
will you get that filled up?
Is it ready to...
Oh, wait, I guess I should clear the chamber.
Clear the chamber.
And I promise to do this...
quicker.
Yes, the third one. You please help me keep on track. Use physical violence. It's fine. I don't mind.
What is on track, though? To do this within 20 minutes, or?
At least 3 times faster than I did here. You have to do that math and the conversions. It's algebraic, but just keep me on track. Again,
all right.
You can. Right, I don't mind
physical violence.
Yeah.
All right. This is still on. Clear the chamber.
Yeah. But seriously, and if I just talk too much or whatever in general, just a medium to a light to medium hardish, hard to really hard, brutal slap across the face wouldn't hurt.
Or should hurt. A medium amount.
Yeah.
But it would certainly help the strain.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt everybody else out there.
There we go.
It'd feel probably quite satisfying. There was so much more than I thought. There's some relationship to volume and surface area, and these bags are bigger. And what's that formula?
Do you have any of the smaller bags?
It's like the
volume.
It's one of those inverse square relationships.
Sure.
It's like the square.
Inverse square.
We all took,
number file.
5th grade math or whatever, where you learn like something is proportional to something else.
Yeah, we all learned something is proportional to something else.
You got your length.
Don't knock that over, though.
Your lengths, your widths, your heights, your volumes.
I think we could set up the ratios for different shapes by doing a ratio of the surface area equation over the volume.
That's exactly what I was saying. Just, you said it in a fewer words and more precise ones.
Like, yeah, more exact method for how we'd actually get to something that you may or may not have been referencing.
God, how did we do this without her before? How did we do this without her? As I was saying, it's
Don't say it again.
It's
just finish.
bigger on the inside.
While you're finishing this, we will recognize the fact both valid, correctly surmised, unlike us, and second clarified. The Deadeye was caching.
Oh, duh. Well, of course. That makes sense.
Is that?
No, it's perfect. We're good. We're good.
You're good. Let's do. There we go. Ready?
You need to keep it elevated, which when they're extra tall is. You
I
can kind of like.
You need the smaller bags again, dude.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
No.
Only the big boys.
Yep.
Big boys for big wheats. Alright, Valid asks a totally topical question.
Please.
Any good edibles you'd recommend?
Yes, if you can find them. I can.
Oh, because it varies a lot regionally.
Yes. There is a new champion. We were talking earlier about the incredible economics, even still, of the deflationary pressures on the weed markets. Weed is, I would still assume, cheaper today than it was a year ago, as it was a year before that. The producer said she's working on that project about trying to chart the actual cost of estimating the cost of a milligram of weed over the.
I did take a note of it, and
that's pretty much all you need. It's just that concept.
yeah, just the concept.
Yeah.
That basically equates to. Wait, careful.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. That was just testing the structural integrity. We have to dedicate this bag to somebody, and I think the producer on this one gets to choose who this bag is dedicated to. Let's let the producer pick who this bag is dedicated to.
Well, I don't.
No.
Let's
It's
see.
just you don't have to overthink it. It can be for any reason.
I'm not good at like singling out. I just want to say like it's for everyone.
That's 100% valid. We gave one to Joe Lieberman in hell earlier. I think giving one to
Everybody that's here that's chatting.
that's beautiful.
That's
the kind of stuff that I can't really think of. It's like you said that. It's like, oh, that's so good. Why didn't I ever come up with that? Where did Joe Lieberman come from? So if you'll say it again.
Everyone here chatting on chat with us.
Well, thank you.
Especially returners like Grovel and Stephanie. Everybody.
Beautiful. Thank you for doing that. You did an excellent, truly a better job than I did.
We don't need to do comparisons.
You're not going to get the privileges every time, but
okay,
I think
okay.
that you're going to have to, I think every stream now, at least one has to be from you. It's our one convention here. That and I guess talking about the Hauser brothers.
So that's one of the conventions?
No, I don't think so.
Just generally ranting about things you're a fan of.
Yeah.
Or things that you hate.
Yeah. Rants.
Just rants in general.
Yeah.
Sir. Anyways.
Well, speaking of rants and things we loved, yesterday, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, you're going there.
Yeah.
Movie based?
Yeah.
Double feature.
Yes. Did a double feature yesterday, if you were listening to our live stream. Went to go see one of truly my favorite movies ever for the first time in theaters. I didn't see it in theaters when it came out. I think I watched it on Redbox.
Like with an actual... Oh, yeah. Well, Redbox.
I got it on Blu-ray, I think, on a Redbox, which is, you know...
Blu-ray,
wow, that
Redbox.
sounds so
Wow.
quaint now. Sounds so quaint. Those things still exist. Couldn't tell you the last time I would have even... They're invisible to me in a way. Like, you know, they're still there, but...
Yeah, you've passed them from time to time.
I think there's one at our closest grocery store. In the sense that they're totally invisible. I think there's one at the Vaughn's.
There used to be one at the 7-Eleven.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Is
but
it? It's gone now.
I think so. Anyways.
Replaced by homeless
Ex
people.
Machina. Great movie. The first movie directed by Alex Garland. I remember being like, oh my god. Like, I had...
Gobsmacked.
Yeah, just like seeing it and being like, I... Just a totally out of nowhere... Did not expect this level of... I mean, precision and... Alex Garland is a novelist by trade. He before he was a screenwriter, he wrote several books. He wrote the book The Beach, which was later adapted by him by his collaborator who we shat all over, Danny Boyle, yesterday.
That's right.
So he is an intensely literary guy. It just never really showed until he did something by himself. And Ex Machina is one of the most thoughtful, pensive, forward-thinking movies. And the rewatching it yesterday,
In IMAX.
realizing that this is a decade old, and the conversations it has, which is the whole movie is about AI. It's about sort of an inverse Turing test. The idea that, you know, can a human tell if the person they're speaking to is a robot or not? It's sort of an inversion of that story. It is one of those things where it's like scary how much it feels like it would have felt a little like almost alien back when it was released. Like, you know, like this all sounds kind of
Ooh, futuristic
Yeah.
and spooky or like...
But it is as if Alex Garland literally wrote the movie last year. It couldn't feel more pulled from today. But except not, it doesn't have that like immediacy and that like, oh, we're just trying to be part of this conversation, so we're just shoehorning it in. It is built around those ideas, and it is still the best expression of them from any piece of, you know, any movie that I can think of what do, you know, the big questions that AI implies with things like consciousness, free will, desire, exploitation, and it's a decade old, and I went into it seeing this screening in IMAX going like, because I hadn't seen it in a long time, being a little nervous, like, oh, maybe it doesn't hold up, maybe it feels outdated, and it is even better. So much, you know, it is a movie that absolutely rewards watching it a second time, because there is a thing that happens in the plot that when rewatching it, you watch it with a fresh vantage point, and it is one where you glean a whole lot with that extra perspective. If you have not seen Ex Machina, it was one of my favorite movies when I saw it years ago, and I only like it more now. Holy shit, it's incredible.
I mean, this is... Also, I mean, I know you're gushing about Alex Garland, the writing and directing on it, but also the performances.
I mean, and it has the meme of Oscar Isaac doing the dance. That was a big thing back in the day.
That was a meme, yeah.
And people went kind of bonkers in the theaters when Oscar Isaac was doing his...
I mean, basically when he was doing anything.
Yeah.
But especially when he was dancing.
Yeah. It was really great dancing.
It was, yeah. Oh, man. That was so much fun.
I think both those people are Juilliard educated.
Sonia, or
Yeah.
however you say her name. Sona.
And I know he is.
He is. Yeah, but she was Juilliard dancer.
Yeah.
She's a dancer turned actress, and then it's such a great connection because there's another great piece of media
Which explores these ideas.
Exact same ideas starring her in a TV show.
Alex Garland did one miniseries on FX back in 2019, 2018, something. Something I just don't see really discussed a whole lot. Like it isn't frequently. I don't see it come up in like any really discussion online.
Oh, we're way off. It's 2020. Oh, March 5th, 2020.
Oh my God. Okay, so that explains it. Yeah. It started with the pandemic, right?
So we were a little distracted. We were a little distracted.
He's got an FX series, Alex Garland, called Devs, which explores these ideas in even more detail, and it is phenomenal. It is just as compelling and engaging and thought-provoking as his movies, Men notwithstanding. I've said that at risk of making it sound like a dumb catchphrase, like, as I've said about Alex Garland and Men, his last movie, only somebody as talented as him could make something as terrible and god-awful as that. Like, it takes a different kind of genius to make something so bad, like just appallingly bad. And God bless him for it. It sounds like Civil War is a hell of a return to form. Also watch Annihilation too. Yeah. Alex Garland. We also, before that though.
Yeah, double feature. So that was the end of the night.
That was the cherry on top, as we like to say. Before that, we had the main course, the horror movie that's getting a lot of buzz right now.
Well deserved.
Yeah. And oh my God, was it incredible. I mean, just one of those things, like, I turned to her a couple times and was like, if this pulls it off.
He's like, well, I remember, because it does like an opening, of course, before the title card. And
real quick, the name of the movie is Late Night with the Devil.
It's like a set in a late night show.
Yes,
set
please.
In the 70s. And yeah, actually really interesting opening where it's just like huge info dump, like kind of documentary style. We've got, we understand the setting of the 70s,
So it's a double high concept movie. I mean, it goes the high wire twice over. It goes found footage, which is a common thing in horror movies. And I think some people really don't like it. I think when it's done well, I love a found footage concept. So it is a found footage plus a 70s period piece, all in the thing of
wrapped up together,
like Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, late night TV show. So it is you're watching the found footage, which is the airing of
this late night talk show.
Yes, and it stars everybody's favorite creepy looking weirdo David Desmalchain from
Everything.
Yeah, you know him. You definitely Google him, and you'll be like, "Oh, I love that guy! Holy shit, David Desmalchain! I love that guy." He was the first thing I remember him from was Prisoners, Denny's first big movie. He was like,
suspected.
Yeah, I was a creepy weirdo in that one. He's the Johnny Carson type, and he is amazing in it. He is incredible. So it is all that. And it is exactly like what you think from the title. A haunted, spooky, something goes catastrophically, hellishly wrong on a, stock standard, Halloween night.
Yes.
Late night talk show. So it takes that, it's the best kind of movie. It is the best kind. It is that, all right, we're going to do a concept that sounds super fun. Like, to me, that is an awesome idea. Like, it's just like, that sounds fun.
Yeah, when you read the sentence of
Yeah,
what it's going to be.
It's like, oh, that sounds cool. Like, that's a cool idea. But you do get worried because, like, it's hard to fucking do that. Like, it sounds cool, but it's not easy to pull that off.
He's looking over at me, he's like, if they pull this off, we're like, you know, at the beginning, he's already, like, pumped up, and then he's like, oh my gosh, that was a start to a movie. And then in the middle, he's like, oh my gosh, if they stick the landing.
Yeah, and it is, as she said, just like this, the perfect execution of it. It is better than you think it could be. Like, it does things that you wouldn't have considered, but in retrospect are like, oh my god, of course. Like, that's so brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't want to give any of them away.
No.
If you're into horror movies at all, it is great, and it is absolutely worth seeking out. Yeah. Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah.
It is weird and fun. And another movie directed by brothers.
Yes! But they're not Jewish brothers in this case, we don't think.
They're the...
Australian brothers.
Yeah, and we also have...
New Zealand.
And like last year's scariest, best horror movie...
Talk to me.
...was also directed by a pair of Oceanic brothers.
They were New Zealand?
I think so.
Okay.
Anyways, those are the movies that I saw yesterday. And shit, dude!
Oh no! All right.
Be honest.
Big focus.
Yes,
big focus. And we might have a good opportunity to disagree with Grovel here. Best found footage movie is Chronicle. I've seen Chronicle.
I don't. It's not my favorite, but it is underrated. I like Chronicle. Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, the best. We know what the best is, right?
I have a favorite.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but Chronicle is another. Grovel makes a great point. Another like high concept thing.
Underrated.
Yeah.
That's the superhero one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's why we wouldn't have had Tim Heidecker be somebody's father in the Fantastic Four reboot number whatever if it wasn't for Chronicle. I won't explain all the through lines there, but it's also why Michael B. Jordan is in that movie. I've never seen that movie, the Miles Teller Fantastic Four. Nobody has seen that movie.
Yeah, you and everyone else have not seen it.
But Chronicle, great. Chronicle is one of those, hey, what if a superhero movie, but without a license, mixed with a found footage thing. And it's a really good, great concept. Great performances. It's got Michael B. Jordan in it, so it's, by definition, has to have incredible performances in it.
Right.
It's also got Dean DeHaan, but don't let that dissuade you. I know
I have such an affection for Dean.
Dean. If you're watching Dean, you're not doing much else. You played a great manager in the GameStop movie.
Yes, we loved him.
But Mr. DeHaan, if you're out there, I apologize. But you will also owe me an apology for Valerian.
You didn't even watch it. I think he owes us all an apology for Valerian.
Yeah, he does.
But we can't blame. That's Luc Besson?
Yes.
Yeah, hey, I mean, you can't blame Luc Besson on.
Do me a favor and on your notepad, take a selfish note.
Okay.
That I still have desperately wanted to watch and it's never been on any service we've had. And Dean DeHaan stars in it. What is it called? The Institute for Wellness or Illness or something. It is the movie directed by Gore Verbinski. It is a bizarro mega bomb. Gore Verbinski being The Rings, Pirates of the Caribbean, a real iconoclast guy. One of my favorite Nick Cage performances, The Weatherman. Oh, yeah. And it is this movie I've always wanted to see because I've heard wildly. It's one of those movies where it's like some people love them.
You love when the opinions
A Cure for Wellness. That's it.
A Cure for Wellness.
Yes. Add that to a list.
Okay.
I assume
we'll add it to a list.
I assume I will hate it, but
his name is Dane.
Oh, it's not Dean.
valid, correct. Isn't his name Dane? Dane DeHaan. Not Dean.
Not Dean.
You owe him even, there's multiple apologies.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry.
In retribution.
Great point. Great point, yes.
Yeah. For Dane. And also, hello for John J. MMA.
Do I remember Gonzo Baptist? How could I ever forget Gonzo Baptist? My LBC brother, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Thanks for being here, man. Sorry I was so distracted. Thanks for hanging out. Glad to be with you. Did you write down Here for Wellness?
I did.
Maybe I'll finally get around to watching it now that it's on a note.
Yeah, because we will be carefully auditing this notepad when we're done.
Yes, for sure. It has to go in the archives.
Ooh, okay. Gonzo / JJ, John J, is answering Valid's question. I think that was Valid's question. An old classic you would an old classic that you'd like to watch in theaters. So old classic, that's hard, you know.
Well, it's just I'm going to say it's a relative term.
Relative.
Who is it that asked again? I'm sorry.
Valid asked.
Valid.
Which is a great question.
Yeah.
And if it's old enough, The Fifth Element. That might have been we don't go to Fathom events because there's so many Fathom events.
Well, the Fifth Element,
25th anniversary, 30th anniversary, all these.
I imagine The Fifth Element will get. I mean, right now is the best time ever for watching movie re-releases in theaters. It really is. Just like look at your movie listings and you'll be like, wait, what? This is in theaters? There's still this, I was going to say glut, but that's the opposite. A barrenness to the release schedule from both COVID and then the writers and actors strike where there aren't a lot of movies out. So theaters, and because they get more revenue on these things, have been re-releasing movies like crazy in these big batches. For example, there's a huge push for episode 1, Star Wars episode 1 in May for its like 25th or 30th.
A huge push as in like people are asking for it or it's actually happening? It's
actually happening everywhere and Disney's going to put a lot of muscle behind it.
They're going to actually market it.
Yes. They are really releasing every single Spider-Man movie, Sony is, over like the next month, like for one day at a time. And of course, I just listed the big ones, but all kinds of things. Recently, The Fugitive, the Harrison Ford 1990 whatever classic thriller was just randomly playing at every theater in the country for some unknown reason. So if you enjoy watching old movies in theaters, which I heartily recommend, it's awesome, just look at your local showtimes and you might be surprised. And double, triple bonus benefit, they're usually cheap.
Yeah, at least at AMC, a lot of times
they're like $5.
The $5 fan favorites.
So, it's not even an expense. It's a pretty cheap trip to the movies if you catch one of them, hopefully.
I'd say, yeah, the worst danger is it might be popular. You just have to kind of, especially if it's combined popular and they're only doing one showing, then it might be competitive to get a good seat.
We saw, I saw Gonzo's remark that, about Fifth Element. There is a very good chance you will see it in theaters this year and not at like a bullshit,
or not
$50 Fathom event thing. Yeah. Because I think Luc Besson has a new movie out this year.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that theaters are like, oh shit, this, like we saw,
well, that was why we think that of course, A24 has just been like on fire with these releases. Like they did a whole set for February, which included The Lighthouse, and we saw The Lobster, at least we were so tired that night.
We're bearing a lead here. I had a literal wish come true. I mean, a literal...
Oh, yeah, our IMAX 70 millimeter.
Yeah.
We had... I mean, of course, we saw Dune in 70 millimeter.
Yes. Twice.
Yeah.
But I had a literal, like, dream come true. I mean, truly a, like...
You had said it out loud. I mean, I know this is not your style, but, like, dude...
I got on my knees.
You manifested it.
I got on my knees before bed.
Manifested
and I
this.
said, Dear Jesus, I need you to take your focus off, those wars and all that bad stuff for a moment, and just focus up, Jesus. I got a big one for you. There's not that much going on. I don't ask for a lot. You don't seem to pay off that often. Jesus, let me get to the point. Could you give me a release of Tenet in 70 millimeter just in theaters? Because it would be awesome to see, because I've become a massive fan of Tenet, like a huge, massive fan, and was like, we all saw Oppenheimer and was like, oh God, this was incredible. So it was like, maybe just give us Tenet. And then Jesus was like, well, it cost, I had to take my eye off the ball there, and, there was that disaster and that earthquake in the Middle East, but I got you one weekend in March, and I'm not sure it was worth it, but I don't know where I was going with that. Other than say, it's almost Easter, so I feel like we should be talking about God.
It was a prayer answered.
It was a prayer answered because I got to see Tenet in IMAX 70 millimeter, and it was incredible.
I just dropped the link for. I know. Generally, I mean, we and the other people who filled up our AMC City Walk, Universal Studios City Walk, we were all fans. But, these kind of things in the LA area seem to fill up. But it seems like generally the vibes on Tenet are people like to pan it. But my favorite entry in the Tenet discourse is Tenet is a vibes movie.
Ooh, yeah, it's worth watching.
Yeah, I dropped the link. If you have a taste for over 50-minute rants on movies, which if you're here, maybe you do.
The only thing I would add to that is I do this guy's argument. This is not a fun point to make for something that some people haven't seen, but I do also think that Tenet is a very fun puzzle to think about. I don't think it works. I think that's
why, and I don't think he would disagree with you.
Well, I think there's some people that are just like, don't even think about it, just experience it. Don't go back and play through it. It's just like, let it wash over you. But I actually think it is.
Oh, it's very fun
to
think about and puzzle about.
I don't think it could ever. Don't think it works. I don't on that kind of like.
On our dumb human brain. Yeah.
If you could unfold it all.
I think in Chris Nolan's brain, it does all work.
Yes, he is.
We're just lesser peons, so we can't make it work in our brains.
He is the reincarnated Robert Oppenheimer. It's an autobiography.
Okay.
Yeah, go watch Tenet if you haven't seen it. Or if you've only seen it once and didn't like it.
It might be time for a rewatch.
It is one of the few things that I've ever just really, truly reversed course on.
Your initial reaction was...
I
think it does need to be said. When we saw it, we did go see it in theaters like twice in the same week.
Yeah, because
it necessitated that.
And it lodges itself in your brain.
And like, what just happened?
Yeah, that was Anyways, Tenet, that was too much about that. I gotta finish this bag.
Yeah, what's going on here? Jeebus. Old horror movies. Have we seen any old horror movies in theaters?
Certainly. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what would have been. Oh, we saw They Live in.
Oh yeah. That was not a wide release. It deserves that. That was at at the beloved chain Alamo Draft House.
But I think arguably I would, it is certainly horror comedy, but I don't think I would consider it a pure horror movie.
It's not a pure horror movie.
But it is a straight up masterpiece.
Straight up masterpiece. Actually, yeah, that was one of your last reviews that you posted.
Oh yeah, we had just seen it. That was a while ago. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna power through.
We talked some about movies. I think there's still so much more to talk about movies. We didn't even. I thought maybe we'd talk about it's still March, so we're in the post-Oscar season. We could kind of do. Yeah, but I know
Oscars.
Yeah, not Oscars, but just like your thoughts on 2023.
Ah, okay. I can give you some. I'll give you two easy ones.
No. I was gonna, but
pin that.
It might need to be pinned.
Okay.
Because, by both the hoarseness of your voice and just the running time that we're hitting.
Oh shit! I didn't realize we've been doing this long. I should have been able to tell. I laughed during the movie last night. I went, it hurts to laugh. It was better earlier.
His vocal cords, are not up to snuff yet for the...
Great point. Let me finish this bag, and then because I hadn't told anybody anything, we'll do a blinker for the kids. That was so... that was rude.
The kids?
Yeah. I don't know where that came from.
It's just a saying.
Yeah.
You don't usually use that.
But, I mean, I certainly think everybody out there is considerably more mature than I am.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't need to call them kids. Oh, boy.
No. I mean, if anything, the opposite would be true. I think, in the, like...
Okay. Well, we were saying, what... The friends.
Yeah,
Friends.
until a better term is
We still need a better term. I'll note that one, too.
Wow.
Right here with Dane DeHaan, not Dean.
That one needs a star. Make sure there's several stars on the Dane one. I'm
3 stars.
I'm really embarrassed.
3 stars. Cure for sickness with from Gord Verbinski.
And if what I've heard about Mr. DeHaan is true, I am never going to hear the end of this. We love you, Dean. Dane. He could have been our Green Goblin.
Oh, boy. Did somebody catch you saying hooid?
Hooid?
You do. I can't say it right. You can say it.
Hooid?
Yeah.
Hooid.
With an H first.
I got them good. Hawkin.
Blinkers are bad, though.
Blinkers are bad?
So like I said.
Oh, why are blinkers bad? They're, Oh! Don't worry. She very... It was great. She, I think, would have pulled it off if I hadn't called, but she gave me a, what are blinkers? Which is not something to be embarrassed about. Unless, of course, it is, but it's not... I had to ask, too. Somebody's like, multiple times were like, do a blinker. And the first time I pretended like I knew what it was, I was like...
Is it on the pen?
I think it comes from the term... Yes.
Because you like, make it blink?
Yeah, you hit it until the, light blinks off. Like, I don't know if that is the etymology exactly, if that's where it's derived from, but in my headcanon, which is a great term that Gen Z's given us, by the way. I think headcanon, great idea. That's where that comes from. So that is what a blinker is, which I also had to ask.
You had to ask.
So either we're both...
Previously and not on stream.
Either we both should be ashamed or... I mean, I have extra reason to be ashamed because,
Sure. I mean, you don't claim to be keeping up with the lingo.
No. I was about to try to say one of them, but then I was like, well, how do you say something you don't know? obviously, shit, Riz. That's the word. But I don't know how to incorporate Riz, which is a very un-Riz thing. That's the word of the year? Was it Riz?
I think so.
I ain't got it.
Doesn't it just... I mean, it can essentially be... Like, we can substitute charisma in our brain in the sentence, right? Or no?
Maybe. I think we did predictions, by the way. Like, I predict shit on this show all the time.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain there is a live stream where you can find a wrong prediction.
Okay. Surely.
Where I said that the word of the year is going to be enshittification.
But it should be.
Some society of some renown has now, but the, accepted word of the year, the one that gets reported in the, on fucking today.com.
Oh boy.
Was Riz, but, it's the third, it was the third Google search result when you searched enshittification.
Oh, let's see. Word of the year. Enshittification word of the year.
And I remember on, March or February of last year.
Oh, that's the American Dialect Society.
Well. Or
other, I don't know. Anyway, somebody's.
I got it wrong in the, one that everybody considers. But that was definitely a thing. I was like, that is certainly going. And it has only really more, of course, cemented itself into the public mindset. But, wow. Blinker. And then I got oh man, yeah. It's like now that you mention it, I do hear it and feel it. It was like I was...
Oh, the hoarseness?
Yeah.
No, maybe just also tired?
Yeah, I was also... I think I was just high and, didn't really notice. And then... and now it's like, okay, it's lodged itself in my brain and now I'm... do I actually sound worse?
No, I mean, I'm not saying you sound bad.
No, but like it sounds like after you said it, my voice got noticeably deteriorated. And it's like, it's one of those, when you lodge the idea in my head, would my voice...
It's like, you became it enshittified.
Brilliant. And,
all right,
blinker time.
Sega thinks you're a voice actor.
I wish.
We always said, face for radio.
I have so many times in my life had people tell me, just like, in small interactions, do you do radio? Are you, I feel like I recognize your voice. Like, nope, this is just, I think I talk in a very sort of smug, kind of like an asshole. And that's like, people hear it and they're like, where do I hear people who talk like a self-righteous piece of shit all the time? And it's like, the radio. It's like, no, that's a type. It's a type. It's a good type. I'm like a Howard Stern without the talent. I'm like a Rush Limbaugh without the hate. or also the talent, but mostly the hate. But
it's a certain... and
the awfulness. And also, thank God, the opiate addiction.
Midnight Gospel, isn't that, what's his name?
Duncan Trussell.
Duncan.
Which I have heard somebody else say that I sound like Duncan Trussell.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I did, when I was in college, I did do,
the college radio.
Somebody in class one time was like, "You're the guy," which was weird. But he's like, "Yeah, you're the guy." I was like, "You do the one like on the set like, in the evening, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." He's like, "How do you do that? How do you get to be on that?" I was like, "It's part of the journalism school or whatever." But it was weird. But yeah. Anyways,
well,
I gotta get that face for radio rested.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's ever said, anyways.
Some more liquid.
Oh, I didn't even do the blinker.
You didn't even do the blinker. We missed. So Sam 2002.
Hello, Sam 2002. Thank you.
Been watching for years.
That's awesome. Thanks for watching, man. I'm not sure if we've, I can't remember if we've chatted before or not, but if we have, nice to see you again. Sorry I didn't remember.
And if not, so glad you're joining now.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
We'll have to touch on the bridge later. I mean, that's just,
yeah, it
tragic.
Is.
But,
yes.
But you're going to do the blinker?
Yes.
Before you do the blinker, Valid had a great question.
Yes.
Because you forget to do this. What is your cart?
Oh, my cart in my 3D printed dick butt, by the way.
Oh, yeah. That's not included with your 510 battery.
Which is an idea that I think that you had. I found an STL, which is the 3D print file, for a razor stand online. Like somebody made a dick butt that was designed to keep your razor upright. I mean, dick butt's one of the greatest internet creations of all time. I think I've pointed out this before. Here's your extra bonus fun fact that I think more people... Just incredible bonus fun fact. Sorry.
Can I interrupt it?
Yes.
Because I was the real webcomic reader back in that day and age.
Yes.
Dick Butt, same creator as the It's Fine dog.
Yes.
The dog on fire.
The two of the internet's greatest, most beloved mascots were created by the same guy, Dick Butt and This Is Fine Dog. Both pure internet objects of good, I think. Blinker, what is in this cart? I think it's called Planet Red. I am not 100% sure.
What's it, your brand there?
It's Alien Labs, which is actually the same people who, even though this says Catalyst, they're both the house brand, I think, of Catalyst, the dispensary I go to, which I mostly go to because it is the closest. But also...
you do love it.
It is weird how much cheaper it is than its competitors in an already race to the bottom priced market.
And they do your favorite type of pricing.
Taxes included. If you look online, I love it. Maybe because their prices are so much cheaper than others, they feel comfortable doing that. But a thing, even though I assume that there is something shady going on with their empire, because I genuinely don't understand how their prices are what they are. The fact that they do not do the bullshit of advertising prices, which are not at all reflective of the price that one would pay in store. Whatever they show as their advertised price online is the actual cost. It's great. It's so consumer friendly. It should be mandated. It's so
It's a problem outside of weed too. It's just in the whole U.S. economy, like the whole commercial space. We're so used to not paying the price that's advertised.
Yes.
We pay more. You just don't know how much more.
Yes, and it's just with weed, is it more apparent, it's a oftentimes 40% or so difference.
Depending on the state, depending on the county even, I guess, or who knows, whatever. But obviously...
I'm not saying I don't support taxes. I absolutely think tax weed. It should be taxed. It's crazy cheap already.
It just should be a consumer protection that, like, the price you see advertised for stuff should be the price you pay.
Yeah, that is a much bigger rant that I could go down. But...
Stick a pin in that one.
Yes. Blinker time.
Blinker time.
Here we go. Thanks so much, everyone. It's been, I can't look. Yes, I can't.
Do your blinker.
Yes, I'm going to look you in the eye.
Left-handed shake.
I let go, so I didn't get it to blinking because
That's close enough. The prediction was you were going to cough out a lung or hold it like a champ. So we all know what happened now.
Happy to fail expectations.
Fail and or it was not even a blinker and
still underwhelmed.
Well, It was one or the other. Hold it like a champ or cough out a lung.
Ah, well.
Accomplished.
What a... This is, she's got that half full look that you want in a producer. And sort of wrangler as well. Prodder. And
good hit, actually.
Well, thanks.
Thanks,
and
Becca.
whoever's to that. Anyways, it's been awesome. I should be back tomorrow around the same time. Hope to get more formalized, but it was a blast hanging out, and I will see everyone soon. Bye. Too old.
Here, one more. There we go.